Good morning, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, how's it
Howdy.
going? Hope you're doing so well. Are you watching us? Are you listening us? Listening
Off
to
to a good
us?
start.
Yes. I'm Liz.
I'm Lily Emma.
Welcome back to Blonde Vibrations.
This is Champagne Whispers episode 26.
Crazy times.
It's Taylor Swift week. Not for you guys because this is coming out
The week after.
yeah, but this is us.
This is us before we know what our surprise songs are going to be. Just to keep you in the loop, it was Cardiff last night who got really good surprise songs.
Yeah, they got the best combination that I've seen so far.
All four were good.
And I literally said to Alice the other day, I think we need to manage our expectations that there's going to be at least one surprise song that's not going to be to our taste, because kind of the way that it's going is that it'll be one more popular one and one a bit more rogue. So I'm
just prepare for not that instant oh my god, I know what it is and I love it.
Oh my god, it's I Bet You Think About Me and I'm dressed up like the music video.
No, because you know what, some of the songs, and I think a lot of the songs that we know, it's probably because we know them more, you can tell from that first instant what it is. 3 a.m. You know 100% what that is, but if it starts with more of a general words or a little ballad
when
beginning.
Switched from I Can See You to
Did
my
you see
god.
I sent you that TikTok of someone predicting it?
Yeah.
So good. What was my not prediction for what I think we'll get, but what was that mashup that I created in my head? And you're perfectly fine. Hello, Mr. Perfectly Fine. I think that would slap. I don't particularly think the songs blend together that, but if we're going down the route.
Last night was actually the first time that I'd predicted a surprise song, because me and my friend at work were saying that Liverpool didn't get the Lakes and she wanted the Lakes, and I was like, I think she's going to do it at Wales because she's not going to do it in London and she's not done it for a while.
And the comments knew as
happened.
well.
And I was
we were watching a TikTok live stream and I don't know how everyone gathers this collective thought, and then sometimes it's right, because what was it? Everyone gathers together on the TikTok live stream and they're all saying it. But there was one last week and I can't remember what it was. Everyone knew as well. They knew
Red.
that. Was it?
Probably. Everyone knew Red was going to happen, didn't they? Because it was the last song of Liverpool. I always knew that Red was going to happen then.
But we'll let you know. I'm in two minds about whether we record our reactions or not, because I'm scared that I'm not going to know what it is, and then you're just going to see me on the thing just being I don't know what to do now, especially because you don't necessarily know all of the words to a song, even if you really like it.
I always know the words, I don't know what song it is. I had that last night when it was literally the first mashup were two of my favourite songs, and as it mashed I was singing along and I was like, why do I know this? And then I was like, oh my god.
When You're Losing Me mashed it, and I was like, what am I singing the words to right now? I know it, but I don't. My fear is something mashing in at a second verse, or something mixing out when I'm about to know what it is, or I just knew a bit, and then there's a bit that I don't know the lyrics to as well, and it's going to seem like I don't know the song at all, when in actual fact I just go hard for the bit before or the bit after. But we'll let you know.
We'll see. Anyway, back onto topic.
Sometimes when we ramble, it matches perfectly with what we're about to say. This doesn't. Nothing. Because Taylor Swift is one of the most employed people we know. She does not take a day off. She is always working, and the 1 billion in the bank account just goes to show
1 billion?
1 billion in the bank account goes to show just how employed she is.
Yeah.
Would you like to read the dilemma for this week?
Yes. I'm having doubts about my relationship. He's unemployed and can't drive. I'm so career focused and switched on. Is this a good enough reason to leave? Can it change?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
So, if you would say yes or no, can you leave?
Yeah.
Can it change?
Yeah.
No, that second yeah was a little bit more unsure of itself.
I don't want to go in being a negative Nancy.
I said, oh, are you Nancy? Negative Nancy? I would negative Nelly.
Oh my gosh.
Is that the reason?
Is that a location thing?
Language barrier?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Do you negative Nancy? Negative Nelly?
Wow.
I can't think of another like N name.
Nathan.
Negative
Nate.
name. Negative Nate. Oh, Nate was never negative on Gossip Girl though, so that could never be him. I also said yes if it's a good enough reason for you, but it depends on the reasoning behind it. So as a reason, yeah, but like.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, anything's a good enough reason to leave if you want to leave.
Yeah.
Like, let's put that there, is that I don't think it's a case of, like, can I leave? It's
yes, you can.
Like, yes.
I think everything we've ever given, like, dilemma, like, should I do this? You don't have to. Shall I remove myself from this situation? You can if you want. Shall I date this person? Yes, if you want to. But like, yes, all in all, with what you have just said.
So Harry with with Chris Olsen's sign, like, yes.
Yes. Okay, let's go with the reasons why. Yes, it's a good enough reason. Would you like to start?
Personally, I'm a strong believer in the people you surround yourself with are both a reflection of yourself as a person, but also can let you hold you back or let you flourish. So I think that's my first, like, yes, you can leave, because I'm and I know that it's probably because I'm on the more extreme side, is that I'm under the impression that if I was best friends with someone who just was not motivated in the slightest, I think I would stop being motivated. And I think I need other motivated and, like, driven people around me to make sure that I can keep going. Do you know what I mean?
And it's not to say that, like, he's doing anything, like, wrong in that situation, but where you align in terms of what you want to get done and what you want to achieve just aren't lining up, if you're not, and that's not to say that you're not strong enough to be motivated in the face of other people around you being motivated, but if you know that you can't get stuff done, if someone is there being like, I don't care what I'm doing, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, even, like, it's not necessarily like you want them to be earning loads of money, but, like, if you're saving for a house and you're there doing overtime and you're saving and you're cutting back, and then they're just kind of there, like,
spending your money because they're not making their own.
Yeah, like just not caring, not being motivated to save, then realistically that is literally holding you back, because you're there trying to do something and they're there not, but you're supposed to be in it together.
Yeah, like the progress that you want to make as a team, like that's not a teamwork, and it's not making the dream work, because you're the only one working to make the dream work. And I said, like, if you are the breadwinner in this situation, if you have any job and they don't have any, you are the breadwinner. If you're working 40 hours a week for the life that you guys live together, you're treating well. You're getting the treats, you're planning holidays, saving up for this new flat. I said flat, but it could be a house. We just live in a flat society in London. But okay, yeah, a house. And he's just going about his day complaining, but he's not really doing that much. If he's like, I wish we could live in a bigger house, what are you doing to bring in the money? Because at the end of the day, money is what's going to get you the house. And if you're just not working, there might be reasons behind it that we'll get into later. But as a blanket statement right now, if you're not doing anything about the situation to get, like, she can't just provide the house for you to live in.
Yeah, like, you're a grown adult.
Yeah. And I've also said that if it's at the point where you're kind of asking him about, job applications and things like that, it is frustrating to see someone complain when they're not applying themselves to the situation that, if they were applying themselves, things would be different. It's not like they're not capable of getting a job, they're just choosing not to.
Yeah, I think this is something I've kind of, and we've spoken about this before, is that I've kind of realised in, like, my adulthood that I really just don't gel well with people who aren't kind of passionate and, like, motivated. And I appreciate that sometimes people have, like, more or less motivation as a result of, like, other things, and I'm not saying that's a problem, but I think when you are a motivated person and you're a very passionate person, I think it's really hard to actually have, like, a seamless friendship, relationship, anything with someone, because you're just on different paths at the end of the day. Like, I feel like it really does kind of frustrate you a bit, I think, when you're there working really hard and someone just is floating through life. And that's not saying one person's better than the other, but it's just kind of saying you're different people on different wavelengths.
Yeah, because it's the same for, I know we're talking about a relationship here, but for many different like social situations, if you're working towards something together, in this situation, a house. I know we've just thrown that at you. You never said you were trying to get a house, but you're living this life together.
You're trying to like hit the milestones.
Yeah, you're both in theory investing into this life together. But it is just you investing. He's not being like a self-server. You're just serving him at this point. And I actually said, you're not his recruiter. You're not his like careers advice counsellor. You should be, it's time for a little saying, you should only be the cherry on top of the life that he's already baking for himself. Like, you're not the chef. You're not the baker. You're not in the patisserie, like, cooking up his life.
No, yeah.
He needs to be putting in the ingredients. Yeah, you might give him, like, self-raising flour. You might nurture it, let it, like, prove overnight or whatever.
You've preheated the oven.
Yeah, like, it's not to say that everything he ever does has to be, like, through his own act, and you can never give him a shred of support. You can only support so much.
Yeah, I kind of read this as, like, I've tried to help. I've exhausted everything I can. It's now getting to the point where, like, it's getting to kind of a head. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that you've been dating someone 3 years and they've just lost their job and you need to, like, get up and go. That's not it. I think, well, firstly, I think it should be relatively easy to support your partner. So I'd like to think that either you've tried to help, or if you're not feeling the desire to help, then you're clearly not.
You're, like, checked out. And that's one of the issues.
But I think it's more a case of it's been going on for a while and that there's been no sign of a reason for why they may be struggling or any care to try and improve it.
Yeah, because you can be there for someone, but ultimately at the end of the day, like, you're not putting those applications out, you're not doing that driving test for him and whatnot. Like, it's up to him if he's choosing to, like, grind and not grind.
Yeah.
What those decisions are for him should only really be affecting him. Once it gets to the point of affecting you, it can't be adding to your stress. You're fully employed. You have a whole other list of things that you need to be getting on with. At the end of the day, you don't want to be coming home to that situation. And then, as, like, brutal as it sounds, he's just there, and he's just chatting God knows what.
He's just on the Xbox.
Yeah, complaining about... And everyone has their own right to be complaining about their own things going on. But at this point, if you've given him all of the seeds to sow, and he has other things giving him these seeds to sow, and he's just being like, nah, Xbox.
Yeah.
Like, nah, like, I don't care. Like, I know I should get a job, but, you know, I just haven't. Like, what can I say? Like, you shouldn't be allowing that to be on top of your stress that you already have.
Yeah. And your attempts to kind of build a better life.
And at that point, if he is then relying on you financially, he's probably not going into it thinking like, you know what, I can just, you know, leech off of her for the rest of my life. But it's a very comfortable situation to be in. If you're in this house or flat or whatever together, this is assuming you live together, you might not. But if this person can rely on you and you're making the money and making the means, and it's got to this cycle of he knows that whatever goes wrong, you're there, you've got this job, you can bail him out at whatever point.
Yeah.
Where is the kind of push to then go on and get more?
Yeah, it's the same way as, like, you know, when parents are like, I'm glad I made you get a job because it means that you're, like, now a motivated person. It's like, you should support your friend's family, partner, whatever, but to a certain extent you can't, like, hold their hand through everything because they're an adult and they need to be given adult responsibility and the space to then do things.
Yeah, because, like, what if you want to take time off or you want to quit your job and start something else? You can't really, or it might cause an argument, or it's going to be this wedge because you all know that then there's no income. And if you are saving this house or this holiday that's coming up in 2 months and you're overworking just to pay it off, but actually you hate that job and you want to quit, but he's doing nothing, you know, you kind of have to stay there. Do you know what I mean?
Think
it's not nice
to be equal, doesn't it? It needs to be kind of, everything needs to be balanced, not necessarily all the time, but in a case of, like, sometimes they're helping you, sometimes you're helping them. But I feel like this scenario, like, I read it as it's not in any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been for a while.
It's sounding like it's giving brick wall on the other side.
Yeah.
And like you're trying so hard, but you can't like get through like brick by brick. It's not working.
Yeah.
And with the whole driving thing, that's a bit more, you know,
Nuanced.
questionable. I've said, you know, if you've had conversations about it, and he said, you know, I'm going to learn how to drive this year. I know it's an important thing. We're going on this road trip. You've got a broken arm or whatever. I need to learn to drive. So I'm going to. That's really annoying. If it's London.
Yeah.
It's a bit more like, I think you can get away with not having a driving
Yeah,
license.
or, you know, if they actually don't need one. But if they're always being like, can you give me a lift? Or like, sorry, actually, we can't go on a date now because I can't drive.
Or like, he really wants to be like a truck driver or something. What he wants to do...
Yeah, he needs to
drive. Or like, you know, you live in a really... This is probably more like what it is. You live in an inconvenient area. He's relying on you to drive...
Everywhere.
like him to where he needs to go.
Work.
Yeah, or like you're...
Well, he doesn't have a job.
Yeah, where's he going? Or like, you don't live together... And every time you want to see each other, you actually have to drive the 35 minutes to him because he won't get those 2 buses or he won't pay for the taxi every time. So again, it's relying on you. Is he paying for your petrol?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Unemployed.
Yeah. But so yeah, if he's saying like, oh, it's in my plan and he's not, it's annoying. If it's not that necessary, then I'm not sure that should be the hill to die on. But if it is very much clear that that was something he was going to do, or even if, like, you know, he said at the start of the year, I'm going to learn to drive. It's my New Year's resolution. His birthday comes around in March. You buy him driving lessons. And he's like, that's sick. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
April 2nd, whatever. I was going to say April 1st, but then it could have been an April Fool's joke. April 2nd, he's, like, going to do it. Rolls around. It's now May 1st. And you're like, oh, you book it in. He's like, I don't know. Nah, let's...
I'm so kind of tired at the moment.
Yeah, I just don't know if I can be bothered. And then this keeps going. It gets to November. And you're like, babe, you said you were going to drive us. We're going away for Christmas. You said, I'm going to learn how to drive because I'm driving us to Devon in December.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You're going to have to do a 2-week intensive course at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, maybe next year.
I don't want to do 2 weeks.
Oh, it doesn't sit well.
No.
Because then it's probably going to end up in an argument where you end up being like, and also you're unemployed.
You're unemployed, you're not saving anything,
Like-
you're burning through my money.
Unemployed, dirty,
I'm your
sad,
mother.
hungry. Like, it's all of this is going to bubble up into a situation you don't want.
Yeah, because, like, at the end of the day, you're not a parent. So you can't actually be expected to put that much, like, time, effort, care that a parent would put in.
And at the end of the day, like, yeah, there's multiple reasons why you're not getting a job or you're not putting yourself forward in situations. You're just not doing any of these things to, like, I guess in your eyes, succeed in the life that you have together. It's more annoying when those things are happening, going against his word.
Yeah.
Like, people that don't stick to their word are just so frustrating to everyone else around them.
Yeah, and also, like, when they don't thrive to their full potential for no real reason. Like, you know, if there's, like, a block in the way that's like, well, I can't because I can't go on that course because I don't have the money, or I can't get a new job because XYZ's happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, things like that is fine. But, you know, when someone just kind of sits there and they're like, yeah, well, I can't really get a job. And it's like, but
have you applied for one?
you've not applied for any. And then they're like, oh, yeah, like, I can't go out because I don't have a job. And it's like, get a job then. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that there are things in place that make it harder for some people and the job markets are hard. But if you're not actually trying, I'm so bad. Like, I can't sympathise.
And the difference in this situation is if there's reasons to sympathise with, of course, you know, actual physically being able to go out and get a job, mental health, like, the job market, trying all of these things. If he's been rejected for 50 jobs and he can't get a job, you don't have the right power, like, or audacity to turn around and be like, why can't you get a job? Yeah. But in this situation for you, you're acting like he just doesn't care to get one. Yeah. And that's the problem. If he's going against his word saying he was going to, but now it seems like he just can't be bothered, it's going to put a strain on your relationship. Yeah. So for that, You don't have to stay in a relationship where it should be equal playing
also,
field.
it shouldn't be this stressful, I feel. Like, yeah, the whole point of a relationship is that you're, like, sharing burdens and things like that. But I think if it's getting to this point where you're like, I actually can't handle it and I want to leave it then, because why not?
It's not... It might be a heartbreaking thing to tell someone this, but it doesn't make you a bad person to want more than what the relationship is providing you. They might be a really nice person, but if every night you go to sleep and think there's just this voice in the back of my head saying, like, I want more, I deserve more, you're not providing enough for me.
Yeah.
If he has the means to do those things, he's just choosing not to. At that point, it is also kind of against you. You know, if you have all these conversations and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna like, get off my back, sorry mum, and all this, like, it's not a nice situation for him or you can leave.
Yeah.
It might not change. It's sounding like it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. However, we actually have a similar kind of situation as well, and it's almost the other perspective of this. So someone said, my partner brags about other guys. She's always saying that they make better money, they could drive, they're more successful, but she never says anything positive about me. I don't know if she's trying to make me jealous or what. Or what? Or what? Or what? It's so easy to say to this girl, you know what, like, that's a scrub.
Yeah.
You know, to scrub or not to scrub. We're leaning on the side of scrub here. But it might not be, like, think about it from his perspective as well, because it could not be as clear cut as, like, he hates me, he's choosing not to drive just to spite me.
Yeah.
You know, like, he won't get a job because he's relying on me. It also could be, like, having an effect on him as well.
Yeah, I think something that I liked that you paired them, because it kind of gave you no choice but to sympathise a little bit. But I feel like if the girlfriend in this scenario that we've built is getting annoyed and getting, like, upset by, like, the lack of success in the partner's life, then realistically the partner's also not going to be that happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always think this when, like, it's not the same thing, but you'll see what I mean. Like, you know, when someone's being, like, really mean and it's like, you're making me so sad, but that probably means that you are a sad person if you can inflict that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're feeling a certain type of way, it's likely that the person inflicting that is also not the happiest person in the world.
Yeah, in a similar, like, vein, I said that when someone is constantly getting on your back at something and on your case, a lot of the time it's not helping the situation. You know, if you're already stressed about something and then someone's coming in to your room at the end of the evening being like, you've not done this, this and this, you know you've not. It's really, it's a difficult one. Like, so I said, as an example, if you're, you know, you're cleaning in the house, you're not quite, like, doing it or whatever, but then your partner's coming in being like, oh, Jane's partner was just saying, you know, he cleans the bedroom every night, and I go down to the kitchen, I never have to clean because he's just so on it all the time. You might think, oh, that's really going to show him that he needs to start cleaning, but sometimes that could just then in turn make him think, I'm not enough, like, I'm not providing enough. And then I also said that when sometimes people make you feel worse about things that you're already aware of, as almost like a retaliation or a reaction, sometimes you can just take on this, like, nonchalant, like, I don't care attitude. Because...
What, as in, like, if someone's like, you don't have a job, you'll be like, well, yeah, I've got no job.
Yeah, like, you could be walking down the street thinking, like, God, I need to get a job, like, I'm so stressed about this. But in the second the person that's kind of meant to be, you know, consoling you about things is like, why don't you have a job yet? As, like, I'm not saying it's the right reaction, but as a way to not, you know, fully break down or have a more intense upset reaction, you could be like, yeah, and what, I don't care, maybe I don't need one anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily the correct thing, but sometimes people will kind of react like that to mask how upset they're feeling about a situation. Because
well, it's like when your mum used to tell you to clean your room as a kid, and you really plan to do it, but just because she's asked you, you don't want to do it.
Yeah, or, like, you know, sometimes when my room's messy, if someone was to come in and be like, it's messy, I'd be like, I don't care. Like, you actually do, but like, if you're, it's almost like a pride thing, or like you don't want to be so vulnerable. And like, yeah, in your relationship, you should want to be vulnerable with your partner. But if you've kind of got this dynamic now where you're feeling like you're his mum, he's thinking, why are you acting like my mum?
Yeah.
Once again, you're not aligned. No one's the bad guy in this, but he just wants to like preserve his pride a little bit.
Yeah, I also think that the comments, like at first being like, oh, so and so's boyfriend's on better money, so and so's boyfriend, like, I don't know, like oh, so and so's boyfriend is like boss of this company and there's like a job vacancy as a cleaner. Do you know what I mean? Like, while it seems malicious, I do think that sometimes that's just how a person is trying to like help. And I think it's something sometimes really hard. I think especially if you're a more like communicative person, or if it's something that you want to speak about, which it probably is if you're feeling like down about not being good enough, is that some people do kind of try and help and try and support through those little side comments. Do you know what I mean? You're like, the whole like, I don't know, if you're like, you don't like your outfit and someone's like, well, you've worn worse.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they don't mean it as like a like, you normally look horrible. It means like, well, like, like, well, like you went to work last week in joggers. So if you don't like the way that your like t-shirt sitting today, it doesn't mean. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like a like, oh, trying to like almost like slyly help you up without being like, you need to get a job. It can be like a like, oh, so and so's boyfriend just got a new job. Trying to like spark that conversation without necessarily doing it, which I personally wouldn't do.
yeah.
But some people work like that.
As I guess, like a reaction to that directly, that yeah, that might not help for the guy in the situation, because if you're, this person's got this really high paying job and they've got this like cleaner vacancy, like your boyfriend in this situation might be like, I want to do more than that. I'm not saying like cleaner, take a job where you need it, etc. You might want to do that. But if he's like, no, I've always dreamed of being this. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I've been like trying to apply for and it's not working. Like, I don't want to put my energy into something else that like I'm not going to be happy in. To the girlfriend's perspective, it's a job is a job.
Yeah.
You need to provide.
And like so and so's boyfriend is giving you an opportunity in his company.
Yeah.
Why does it matter what position it's in?
To him, it's like, you love your job, you're happy in your job, you love the progression and the direction you can go in. You're trying to throw these like quote unquote crumbs at me. Do you not think I should be in a thing that I want to enjoy and I was educated and going towards? Like, do I not deserve that same chance of a happy career progression as well?
It's the like age old thing of like, do you get a job just for money while you wait to find a passion? And some people genuinely, and this is, I don't know if it's because we like live in London, some people genuinely would rather be unemployed than have a job that they don't enjoy, which like is fair play.
Yeah, because life's too short
But
in that argument.
I think a lot of people are of the attitude of like, a job's a job, and you go to work, you get the money that then pays the rest of your life that you can find enjoyment in. That's obviously a reflection of many problematic structures, but I do think if you're of that opinion and your partner's of the other opinion, that's going to be a real divide and a real problem in your relationship.
I also said, like, this isn't an excuse at all. I don't think this is a valid argument for him, but he could turn around and be like, being with a powerful woman like yourself, it seems like you're looking down on me for doing all these things. And this is the part I somewhat agree with, sometimes you can only allow yourself to be as much as the people around you see you. If everyone around you is like, you've got no job, you're not going anywhere in life, like, what give is that? Like, these people aren't seeing you for your potential. They maybe are looking down on you a little bit, and then you're like, okay, well, fine, I'll just do nothing all day then. That's all you see me for anyway. That you need to work on yourself, and there's other things. I don't think you should be putting that forward into a relationship. But that might be a reason, in which case there needs to be more of like open communication to get to the point where it doesn't seem as if you're looking down. He doesn't feel as if he's burdening everyone by doing nothing, so he carries on in that structure. He just wants like the comfort. And also, if it is like a knock of confidence thing And then you're coming home being like, Richard got promoted. He's actually on 70k now. Like, what are you doing? That would be the worst thing to hear.
Yeah, it's the same way that earlier we were kind of saying, if you're with someone unmotivated, then they're going to unmotivate you. In the same vein, if someone's saying, like, you're not doing enough, you will eventually not do enough. Do you know what I mean? If someone came home every day and was like, you're so messy, you will eventually become messy because it's kind of instilling that thought in you. And I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, and if you're around someone that so just has it together, I think this is like, we could do a whole other episode on this as well, like being around someone that so has the stages of their life in order. If you don't have that, that's almost like directly flipping on the head of like being around someone that's so unmotivated. Being around someone that has it all, or in your eyes, like has every step they need, that's also so difficult, because then you're like, well, what's the point? Because I can't compare to what they're doing. I don't think you should feel that way in a relationship.
No.
I think you should see yourself as equals, doing whatever you need to do, but it could be a reason that they feel like that.
I think sometimes in cases like this, it gets so like muddled that I do think it's a case of like right person, wrong time. Like I genuinely, like when I was thinking about these dilemmas, I was just thinking like it shouldn't be this much work, and I think it might be that you need time apart to both grow separately and see what happens when you're not together, because then you might circle back round and be like, well, I've sorted everything out now, I'm in a better place. Like, now we can be together happily. I just don't think it's worth wasting time if you're in such different places and if you're both making each other unhappy.
I think, like, I would pose this question to the girl in the scenario who's talking about her boyfriend. If the boyfriend turned around to you tomorrow and was like, I need to work on myself, it's not you, it's me, I'm breaking up with you, how much would you want to fight for it? Because that's how you can know whether it's worth walking away or not. You know, if it was flipped and you didn't get to make that decision anymore, he left, would you be...
That's probably going to be a pride thing, isn't it?
But if you were like, no, because in spite of all that, like, he makes me the happiest ever.
Yeah,
I know this is just like a temporary thing, you know, like, but I love him, I can't even imagine my life without him. Then it needs to be, okay, you need to work on your communication more to get to a point where it's completely equal. But if you were like, I think that might be a bit of a relief. I'd kind of rather him do it than me, because then I don't have to be the one to walk away and be the bad guy about it. Then it's time to think like, okay, sometimes you are the bad guy in relationships, sometimes you break someone's heart, sometimes you just have to break up with them, and everyone will deal with it in their own ways at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think you don't have to stay, even like at the end of all of this.
Yeah.
If, you know, it's their mental health, this, that, whatever, I think you can still be there for them as well.
Yeah, you can, like, I don't think it's necessarily like, if they're unemployed, you can't have them in your life. I just think a relationship is a very different thing, and especially if you're at that stage where you're thinking about, like, next stages and hitting new milestones, you actually can't do it with someone who's in a completely different realm to you, and I think sometimes that's a hard realisation, is that, just because you do really love someone, if you're off doing like really like big things in life and they're just not, and you're just in completely different worlds, it's really hard to make it work. And I don't think it should be shameful to end a relationship that is going to end up being more work than necessarily like protecting your feelings.
And it's not to say that they're a scrub.
No.
They're just not for you.
Yeah.
I think you're in your right mind to, you know, sit them down and be like, this is nothing against you as a person. I actually really love you, but, you know, the directions we're going in life at the minute, yours is slightly more unclear, and I know what I want. And I can't see you in that picture right now in this situation. It can change.
But right now
it doesn't look like it's going to change. So I need to take that step back romantically. I can still be there for you and whatever you need. We don't hate each other, so whatever I can help you with.
It also isn't necessarily like forever.
Yeah, it's just like right now it's not working. I need to go away and process what I want to do on my own. And you might just have to swallow the pill that is, they could then turn around and be like, I don't want you in my life at all then. and they are kind of, no one's in the wrong. They are allowed to do that. As much as that would be hurtful to hear, it's going to be hurtful on both ends.
I do just think, like, those two dilemmas combined, it's just like neither of you are that happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're thinking about leaving, the likelihood is that you should just leave. And if you're feeling like your partner is always putting you down, then you need to leave. Do you know what I mean? I just think, like, if there's those doubts, then surely it's better to leave and decide later down the line if you would be better suited than to force a relationship, because that you shouldn't feel like you have to do that. I think you should work towards things together, but I don't think you should have to work on making the relationship work. I think it should work on blending together.
I always think that, you know, when it comes to relationships and things go wrong, I don't see how if you truly want to stay with them, all of the list of things don't come before, and maybe it has, and that's why at this point you're saying, like, I maybe want to leave. If your first instinct of, like, when you're faced at this crossroads in a relationship is, shall I just leave? You don't like them that much.
No.
Or it's not worth your time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a horrible person for just getting to this point and thinking, I actually don't love them enough.
It's just too much effort.
Like, you are allowed to do that. It's going to break their heart probably, but, like, you are allowed to do it. It's your life. But, you know, if you're like, no, like, I do really want to work at this, maybe it's just a communication thing. Maybe, like, we've come at it from our own sides too much, and we've not even tried to meet in the middle of, like, I see why maybe it's not as easy as getting a job. And he's saying, I see why it's frustrating that you're the one providing. If he's going to be like, you need to stop mentioning other people, because it's going to make me insecure at the place I'm at, stop comparing my progress to someone else's. It's also seeming like you're trying to make me jealous.
Yeah.
Not sure why. If you want Richard, go be with him. Like, that's a bit petty, maybe don't do that.
I'd be with Richard.
I mean, if you were mentioning Richard all the time,
yeah,
you maybe would question.
Would you rather be with Richard?
Yeah, do you want Richard? Yeah, and then you can turn around and be like, I'll stop mentioning other people. I can see why that would, like, antagonise you a little bit. Like, maybe I am trying to play into that to get a reaction from you. That's petty from me, I'll stop. See, look, I'm playing this conversation in my head. And as long as you're both reasonable people, that tennis game can go back and forth. Game, set, match, love.
Yeah. Whereas if it's just not going to go smoothly, then that's...
Yeah, like, you'll be willing to have that back and forth if you love each other. But if one of you, like...
is just shutting down,
then you can't. And you can't force someone to see your perspective. You have to work on yourself a lot to see someone else's perspective. Do you both want to put the work in? If you don't, find someone that won't be this much of, like, a headache.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, that's a bit of an unclear ending, to be honest. How much are you willing to put in it?
Yeah.
How much are they willing to
I
put
mean,
in
it's
it?
also a case of, like, how unhappy actually are you? Some people would have that big dilemma, and in reality, like, they're saying that, but it's just because you're just in the phase of it, and then they'll go home the next day and be like, oh, there's my Pookie playing Xbox. Do you know what I mean?
He kept my seat warm all day, and now he shuffles up and I get to purchase
Yeah, do you
it.
know what I mean? Like, it's also a case of, like, how upset are you really by it? How much is it actually affecting you in the long term?
Yeah, if you had this, like, grand scheme, like, you'd had a couple of drinks one night and you were like, shall we get a house? Haha. And you didn't even know if it was a serious situation, but you've been putting aside $1,000 a month. And then you're like, in 6 months' time, like, okay, it's deposit time, let's match up to see where we're at. And they're like, lol, what? I don't have a job, like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Then once again,
Like, I just bought some
miscommunication.
new Sims expansion packs.
You're like, you want to see my new pet dog? Can I pet that dog? And then you're clearly just like, you just need to chat. But, you know, if at the end of the day, he pulls up Sims and he's made you guys and he's like, this is the house I envision for the future.
Yeah.
Like, I
this
built
is our
it.
dog.
Yeah, like
here's some pictures that we took together.
I just built this extension. Look, like, I'm sorry I can't do it right now, but give me a few years and I swear I'll get there.
Yeah, he gave you all the nice traits.
Yeah, and then he proposes. And then you look up and there's a real ring.
Well, where's that ring come from if he's got no job?
It doesn't, it's a Haribo ring.
Oh, okay.
Because it's cute. Oh. God, imagine that. I can't tell if that's my, like, best case scenario for a proposal or worst case scenario, like seeing it on Sims and then looking up and the ring being there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of cute.
I don't think it's fit of me.
It's so cute.
Because I'd be there like as like the sim was proposing, I'd be like, this is so awkward. Like, why are you proposing in The Sims right now?
They'd be like, you know, there's a dirty dish there. Like, why have you not dragged it to the bin first? Like, why have you put me in that outfit?
Whereas I'm sure someone probably would just think like, oh, like, proposing. But I'd be there like, why are you doing, like, we're not even engaged. Like, that's really weird that you're making your sim propose to me and we're not engaged.
Do you know Anna Paul, like the TikToker? She was with that guy called Glenn, but they've broken up. So she did this like pop-up event thing, and this is no judgment from me, but 2 people got engaged at her pop-up.
Oh.
They got so much hate. They were like, imagine your relationship being off the back of an Anna Paul TikTok and all this.
Oh.
But if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
But we're
rambling. We've got low battery.
Right,
we were supposed to keep this one short and sweet.
Let's wrap this up before the battery dies. So thank you so much. This has actually been a shorter episode, to be fair.
Well, by the time we're done, it will be the normal length.
Thanks so much for listening, watching. You can follow, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know what you think. Social medias.
We have a website, blondevibrations.co.uk. It has a blog with lots of exclusive music content. We have our Instagram, blonde_vibrations, and we also have our TikTok, blonde vibrations.
We just reached 1 million likes over there. So
yeah,
thanks,
it's pretty
guys.
exciting.
Thanks, guys.
And yeah, I've not missed anything, have I?
I don't think so. Let us know what you think. Scrub or not scrub? Love or not love? Leave or stay? Let us know.
Leave or stay? Isn't it stay? Like, that's so interesting that you said it that way around.
What, like not stay or leave?
Like, leave or stay. Like,
I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. Analyse it. Okay. Lots of love.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck. Bye.
Good luck for your surprise songs.
Hey, Alexa, play No Scrubs by TLC. Haha. Who just got caught out by that? Bye.